Time now for the day's business news, and we have Stephen Carroll with us here on the set. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Jeannie.
Let's start with this big news out of Airbus in Toulouse. Airbus, which has delivered the first of its newest plane to Qatar Airways today.
Yeah, that's right. It's a year behind schedule, the A350, and even this launch was delayed from earlier this month. It's still better than Airbus's last major launch, so the A380, and that of its rival Boeing's Dreamliner. The new aircraft is to be built with lighter materials to be more fuel efficient. Nearly 800 of them have been ordered so far, the first going to Qatar Airways. Our correspondent at Airbus headquarters in Toulouse, Chris Bachmann, spoke earlier with the chief executive of Qatar Airways.
Here we are at Airbus headquarters in Toulouse, where the Qatar Airways is about to receive its brand new A350, probably the last new aircraft to come off an assembly line here for the next decade, 15 years or so. And the man who'll be collecting it is the CEO of the airline himself, Akbar al-Bakr. Well, this is your airplane over here.
Yes. This is the aeroplane for my country.
Why did you choose this one?
Because it is a state-of-the-art, next-generation aeroplane, fuel-efficient, very low noise emission, and the range that we need.
Now, why did you buy from Airbus? You could have bought from Boeing.
Well, we have bought from Boeing, but we always like to keep our fleet young and most modern. And now this is the most modern aeroplane, keeping in mind that is being delivered 3 years after the 787. So all the improvements and all the efficiencies over and above what has been in the past has been incorporated in this aeroplane.
You're a tough customer. As we showed, this has been delayed. How come there was a bit of a delay?
The delay had nothing to do with Airbus. Actually, it had to do with our suppliers that supply the interior of the aeroplane, which is independent from Airbus. And we didn't accept some of the qualities of manufacture, which was rejected. And in the last moment, they had to fix those issues, which took the slight delay. And the delay is only a week, which is not very much.
I mean, European airlines in particular, the legacy carriers they call them, are terrified of all the Middle Eastern airlines, yours, Emirates, Etihad. What are you doing which they're not doing?
Well, what they are not doing, first and foremost, is the efficiencies that we have. They don't have. They have high labor costs. They have inefficient structures. And most importantly, that is putting a lot of pressure, is the working conditions by the labor unions. They are putting pressure on them, for which they have very high cost to operate their airline in their territories.
At the moment, you already have a choice of two companies, Boeing and Airbus. The Chinese could come in, the Russians. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Of course. The more the competition in this field, the better it is for airlines. And we would support very much the competition that is coming from China and from Russia to both Airbus and Boeing.
You say there's a lower running costs. For the airlines, you know the differences, but as a passenger, will I notice any difference?
Yes, you will notice as a passenger traveling on the A350, the sophistication, the product, the speed by which you arrive into your destinations, and of course the cabin altitude. This has a lower cabin altitude, so you arrive in a better physical condition than in the previous types of airplanes.
So we have the Chief Executive of Qatar Airways speaking to our Chris Bachmann in Toulouse. Let's take a look at what's happening on the markets next. And we've seen oil prices rebound slightly in trading today. It's up. Brent crude in London, as you can see, up slightly in trade today, up near around $62 a barrel, so nowhere near that record low, or that 5-year low, I should say, of below 60, which it went to last week. Signs, perhaps, of some recovery in the oil market after comments from the Saudi Arabian and UAE oil ministers that they won't cut output for now. They're blaming non-OPEC producers for that fall in oil prices. Crude oil, of course, still down around 40% so far this year. Helping things in the stock markets, though, you can see a clean sweep of gains across the European markets on this, which will be a quiet week on the stock markets. Oil and gas shares, unsurprisingly, among the big gainers there. Well, let's move on now with a look at some of the day's other business stories. And the oil giant BP wants the United States government to seek a lower penalty from it over the Gulf of Mexico oil spill because of the tumbling price of oil. The 2010 rig explosion killed 11 workers and caused the biggest environmental disaster in US history. In a court filing, BP says the $16 to $18 billion maximum fine sought by the authorities would have a significant negative impact on the company. Chinese regulators have begun an investigation into potential price fixing in the country's stock market. The Securities Commission is looking at a practice that involves groups of investors pumping up prices of certain stocks. The news comes as mainland Chinese shares traded at 3-year highs earlier this Monday. An EasyJet cabin crew here in France are to strike this Friday, December 26th. The disruption expected to affect up to half of the airline's flights on that day, although the company has yet to make any cancellations. Unions called the strike over issues including crew rotas.
A strike on Boxing Day, that does not sound like good news.
Technically the strike starts on Christmas Day, but since there are no flights operating out of France that day, it doesn't affect any flights.
Got it. Let's finish up in the city of London, where a lot of staffers are very hopeful that they will have a lot of happy Christmas bonuses this year.
Yeah, that's right. A new survey says that senior staff in London's financial centre are expecting bonuses up to 21% bigger this year. The study by the recruitment firm Asbury Marsden found that they're expecting more money despite this political crackdown on bonus culture. We know that the new EU rules limit bonuses to the equivalent of an employee's annual salary, or twice that if it's voted by shareholders, but still some hopes holding out there in the City of London. They will manage to get a little bit more money.
We'll send some of those city vibes to our bosses here at France 24
It's
as
a good
well.
idea. I'll
Stephen
support that.
Carroll, thank you so much for that look at the day's business news.